Hey there, and welcome to the Hey Kahla Podcast. I am your host, Kayla Evans, and in this episode, I want to give you some really concrete things that you can do to build up your confidence. I call these confidence building quests because I'm a nerd and I like the word quests, but I don't want that to send you into a panic, or I don't want you to think that these things are super hard or they're going to take forever or they're going to be like extremely challenging or taxing to your heart and soul. Some of them might be. It definitely depends on your level of comfort and where you're at in your confidence building journey, but they are all extremely doable and they won't put you in any sort of peril. And it's moments like these, the ones that I'm going to share, that we feel uncomfortable, or these moments where we feel really stretched. Those are the moments that we want, because that's when we grow the most. And that's exactly what we're aiming for here. So these quests, and the reason why I'm sharing this, these are just some of the things that I covered in my very first 100% on my own confidence building a workshop. I hosted it last week. It was called the Illuminate Your Inner Magic Masterclass, and it was huge for me. And this was me walking my talk, because I always teach people that to build up your courage and your confidence, to then go do the things that you're dreaming of doing, you actually have to do things. Like, you have to do things. And hosting this masterclass, this workshop, it was the first photo. It's a photo of another gal. I think I grabbed it off Pinterest. Maybe I'll share it on my Instagram later. But it was the first photo that I put on my vision board back at the start of 2024. And this was the biggest, juiciest thing I wanted. And even a week later, I still don't even really have words for how much fun I had and how special it was for me, and just how stinking proud I am of myself for doing it. But again, it's me walking my talk. So I wanted to share that no matter what level you're at with your confidence, with your public speaking, with you going after the things you want, you can always learn and you can always grow. And there's this David Story quote that I use all the time in my classes and presentations. And he said, quote, "Self-confidence is the memory of success," end quote. How good is that? And he also said, "Have confidence that if you have done a little thing well, you can do a bigger thing well too." Oh, I love those, right? Self-confidence is the memory of success. Yes. And then have confidence that if you have done a little thing well, you can do a bigger thing well too. Not only do I love these, but I believe 150 freaking percent that that's true, because that's exactly how I built up my confidence. If you don't know my backstory, I was this really shy, awkward, quiet, nerdy kid who hated speaking up, hated being seen. It was not a great situation, to somebody who actually hosts NHL games in front of thousands and thousands of live people. And I made that change because I started making myself uncomfortable. And even when I failed at the thing that I tried to do, or honestly, there's a lot of crying. There's been a lot of crying in my journey. Or I just straight up sucked at it. I lived. I learned what not to do. And then I was able to do it again and again until I did it in a way that I was comfortable with. And then I moved on to the next thing. And that bank of badassery, which I also teach, but that's definitely for another episode, or this one's going to be freaking 18 hours long. That bank of badassery, this memory of success, it informs my brain and my body that, yeah, I did tough things before. Why couldn't I do it again? There's no proof that I can't do it. There's only proof that I can do it because I already did it, right? It became me. I became someone who could do the thing that scared me and make it through. And no one could take that away from me, because I would just do it again. It was in me. It was me. And you can get there too. I know this because I see it with people I work with all the time. It becomes you, and it becomes a part of your story. So, longest story longer. How do we actually start making it a part of your story and a part of your personality, right? How do you become a confident person? Well, I want to start small, and I'm going to share 3 pretty easy things. They're easy in concept. They may not be easy in execution, because again, they're going to make you uncomfortable. They might stretch you. You might feel a little cringy or a lot cringy. But if you stick with it and you do it, even if you do it poorly, you're going to notice a massive difference with your confidence and with your self-belief. So we're going to start small with the first thing. And I want you to start right where you are with what you have. I'm going to assume that you're listening to this on a smartphone with a camera. and you probably have some sort of social media presence. Great. That's exactly what we want. Even if you have like 14 followers, doesn't matter. I want you to finish this episode, take your phone, take a selfie, and post it. Easy, right? Well, there is a catch to this. I want you to post a selfie with no filter and within 3 attempts. Like that's all you get. 3 pictures. Then you got to choose one and post it filter free. And the idea here is that showing your face as you are, it's extremely vulnerable, like especially to the world on social media. We see selfies all the time, and I think a lot of people will think like, oh, they're so full of themselves, without thinking like the thought behind it. Like that's extremely brave and vulnerable to put yourself out there. Like it's going against your human biology to put yourself out there and open yourself up to criticism. Not that we want that, not that people are asking for it. They're not. But posting a selfie is massive. It's a huge way to build up your courage. Again, it's a hugely brave act. And by the way, very few people actually do this. I mean, how many times do we filter, which no shame, do what makes you happy. Do we use a filter, or do we take like 10, 20 pics before we get get one that we just kind of sort of like? Yeah, that's, I think, the story for a lot of us. But if you do this, post a selfie, no filter, and within 3 takes, you're going to get really used to your face and be more comfortable with how you look. Although we do know that cameras distort images, like you can Google that fun fact. And bonus points if you take a selfie in public, because let me tell you, taking pictures or videos of yourself out in the wild is like a crash course in confidence building. So you're going to get used to yourself, and you're going to build up that bank of badassery because you're doing this courageous, brave thing, even though it sounds silly like, oh, people take selfies all the time. Yeah, but how many of us pick one within 3 and post it filter free, right? Do it. You're going to notice a huge difference. Okay, number 2. I also want you to be out in the wild for this one, in public, but it's like PG rated. I want you to go on a solo date, like by yourself, like just you, somewhere that you've never been before, okay? And go book and phone free. Like take your phone with you because of emergencies, yes, but like keep it in your bag or your pocket or wherever. And this one is also like multi-dimensional, if you will, because you're going to have the strangeness of a cafe or restaurant, or maybe if you have a picnic in the park that you've never been to before. Well, it's getting kind of cold. I don't know if we want a picnic in the park, but you know what I mean. So you're going to have the strangeness of a new place, and you won't have anything to distract you, right? So you're just going to be alone with your thoughts and feelings, and that may be extremely cringy at first. And this is another one that, yeah, it's going to sound like, okay, no big deal. But when you're actually there, it almost feels like you're naked in public at first, right? Like without your phone or a book. And this is homework that I give to a ton of people, and it's one that really helps them transform like super fast. You know, just don't do it. Don't do a movie. Right? Like I want you to pick a restaurant or a cafe. And the other thing to that is obviously a movie, there's a distraction, you're in the dark, like you don't have to be like solo and out there. But when you take yourself to a restaurant or cafe, or you take like a really nice meal to go and sit in a park somewhere, you're treating yourself to a really nice experience, and that's going to build up your self-love, right? That reinforces the fact that I'm worth solo dating. I'm worth taking myself out. I'm worth treating myself to something nice and having an experience that I enjoy. And building up your self-love, like doing lovely things for yourself, that just goes hand in hand with your self-confidence. So again, solo date, you got to be alone, somewhere you've never been before, cafe or restaurant, preferably, and book and phone free. You're just going to sit there. You're going to people watch. You're going to enjoy your meal. And I think that's another side benefit. I'm a huge solo dater. You're really present. Like you enjoy that meal when you're on your own. So pick maybe a place that you've really wanted to try, but you haven't been to before. So that's number 2. And I'm going to share a third one here. Number 3, and this one was huge for me, even like well into this year. And honestly, like something that I still can struggle with from time to time. And that's accepting compliments instead of denying them or downplaying them, and accepting help when someone offers it, right? Like, honestly, think to yourself the last time someone complimented you. What did you say? Did you brush them off? Did you like downplay it? Or when somebody offered to help you, how many of us are like, no, I got it. Thanks, but I'm good. It's like our first instinct, right? Is to say, no, thanks, I'm good. We are, yes, we're super capable, but being humble and respectful, it's lovely. Yes, we're taught that. But if someone's offering to help you or they're offering you a compliment, like I'd say 99% of the time they actually want to help and they actually mean it. And you deserve it. So why not graciously accept it, right? It's going to make you feel better. It's going to make them feel better. And this act, again, it's going to instill the fact that you love and respect yourself and you see yourself as someone who is worthy of a kind word or a kind gesture, because like 100% you are, 150 freaking percent you are. Like you're so worth it and you should take people up on it. It just goes round and round, right? So to recap these 3 confidence building quests for you to try out. Number 1, I want you to post a selfie on social media with only 3 attempts and no filter. Number 2, I want you to take yourself on a solo date somewhere where you've never been before, book and phone free. And number 3, I want you to accept compliments and help instead of denying them or downplaying them. And I want you to try one of these each week for the next 3 weeks and see how you feel. So you can do them in order. You can pick the one you think you're going to struggle with the most, right? What do they say? Like eat the frog first or ease yourself into it. But pick one, do one a week, keep going for 3 weeks, and then let me know how you feel. Because like I said at the start of this episode, you have to take that action. You can listen to all the podcasts, you can read all the books, you can take all the mastermind classes out there. But if you're not going out there and doing things to get you closer to what you want to do, like you're not going to go very far. It's one thing to know it, right? We know it. It's another thing to do it. And you most certainly can do it. And I want you to remember that your first day or your first attempt, like it might not be great, right? It might not be amazing. You might cry. I cried a lot. But if you keep with it, you're going to get better and more comfortable over time. And your confidence is going to grow the more you get out there and the more you put yourself out there. And then you'll be able to do bigger and better things. And again, like that David Story quote, if you can do the small things great, you can do big things great as well. And I also want to just remind you that confidence building and just sustaining that true confidence, like that's a lifelong journey for a lot of us. I am always doing things, like I mentioned, hosting my own workshop. I'm constantly doing things like this to put myself in situations where I can grow and learn. And that's even after speaking for a living for the past 20 years. So I want you to start small and work your way up. And most importantly, like don't give up, even if it's the most uncomfortable you've ever been. I feel like I should say, like, don't give yourself a panic attack. Like, don't put yourself in harm's way. But if it's, I feel like we know the difference, right? We know the difference between, ooh, this is uncomfortable, I feel cringy, and oh my gosh, I'm going to like pass out. Don't put yourself in that situation. Don't do it. But stretch yourself, make yourself uncomfortable, because that's when you're going to grow. And that's when you're going to prove to yourself, yeah, I freaking did it. And if I did that, I can do the next thing. If I did that once, I can do it again. You start building up that proof that you are capable of doing things, and you so are. We want to grow that bank of badassery. So I do have a ton more on this list that I share. I've got a lot of confidence building tips and advice, public speaking tips and advice. So if you're interested in working together, you can always shoot me a DM on Insta. I'm there at Hey Kahla, or you can email me. I'm info@heykahla.com. And I also have like blog posts, tons of free advice as well on my website. So for anything and everything else, you can head on over to heykahla.com. And I want to thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with me. I want to thank everybody who came out to my masterclass. You are all awesome. Special shout out to my mama. She ran the behind the scenes, the backstage. She put together the snacks. It was amazing. My bestie, Kayleen, who came and showed up and supported me, just in case nobody else showed up. At least I had my mom and my bestie there. And Table Space as well, for just having such a great spot in the community that we can go and host events at. So it was awesome. I loved it so much. Again, thank you everyone who had a part in that. Thank you again for hanging out with me today, and I hope you have the best day.